So, good day everyone. This is the continuation of the Unit 3.0, which is the topic B, Product Development Engagement. So, take note that the related SDG regarding to this topic is the SDG 8, 9, and 11. So, let's start with the 3.3, New Product Development Planning and Strategies. So, meron tayong tinatawag na Product Development Strategy or PDS. So, according to the definition, PDS, ito daw yung pag-introduce or process of introducing a new product into a established or untapped market through the use of testing, research, and concept development. So, ano nga ba yan? Nagkakaroon tayo ng untapped market since may mga market na hindi nami-meet yung customer demand or needs nila. Kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng idea na what if mag-introduce ako ng new product na ganito, which is based nga siya sa testing, research, and concept development. So, meron din tayong tinatawag na PDS alternative approach. Ito naman yung pag-introduce natin ng existing product sa new market. Say, for example, yung product na to is exist na siya in particular country, pero sa ibang bansa, hindi pa. So, maaari nating ibenta yung product na yun sa ibang bansa, which is yung new market na yun is sa ibang bansa. But, yung product na yun is exist na siya. So, matatawag natin yun na PDS alternative approach. So, next naman is meron tayong tinatawag na new product development. So, ito yung idea or dito mabubuo yung idea na what if gumawa ako ng panibagong product pero nakabase siya sa customer demand or market demand and market viability nito. Hindi ka lang basta gagawa ng new product, but magbe-base ka nga doon in terms of consumer demands. Of course, parang maging successful din yung ilalunch mo product. Hindi lang basta gawa ng gawa. So, next naman is importance of product planning and development. Product planning. Of course, pero pag meron tayong product planning, magkakaroon tayo ng idea or madedefine natin yung key attributes ng product natin. Diba, mga key features nito. Ano nga ba yung pwedeng maka-apekto dito sa product na to? And of course, magkakaroon din tayo ng market research, market analysis, and of course, development timeline. Nagkakaroon tayo ng develop timeline, which is important nga. Kasi, hindi naman panghabang buhay is ganon yung customer demand or ganon yung magiging market demand. Kaya kailangan natin mag-set ng realistic timeline to develop this particular product. Next naman is ensures clarity. Of course, magbibigay linaw sa atin ito kung para kanino ba or kung ano nga ba yung product natin. Kung sino ba yung magiging target market natin, ano nga ba yung bubuin nating product. Next naman is PDS objectives and importance. So first, the objectives. Meron tayong tinatawag na corporate perspective. Since nasabi kanina, yung PDS daw is pag-introduce natin ng new product or existing product to an established market or new market through the use of testing, research, and concept development. Since meron yung mga yun, maaaring masatisfy natin yung customer demands. And if masatisfy natin yung customer demands na yun, maaaring tumaas yung market shares natin, which is nagkakaroon nga ng corporate perspective. Next naman, may tinatawag din tayong customer perspective. So, yung consumer natin, since nagkaroon nga ng consumer demand or nasatisfy nga natin yung consumer demand with regards to the PDS na ginawa na nga natin, is magkakaroon tayo ng feedback regarding to that. So, pag nagkaroon tayo ng feedback, maaari nitong madagdagan or magkaroon tayo ng idea na kung ano pa idagdag natin sa product na to, which is, it ensures value and quality to that particular product or pwede ring services. Next naman is importance of PDS. Ang una is uses market research to guide the strategy. Pag nag-market research kasi tayo, possible nito is madagdagan yung kaalaman natin regarding dun sa iproproduce nating product. So, kapag nidagdagan yung kaalaman natin in terms of market, like competitors, customer demands, magaguide ito upang makabuo tayo ng strategy natin. So, next naman, helps overcome barriers and focus on the most effective strategies. So, minsan kasi is iba't ibang strategy na lang yung ginagawa natin eh. Hindi na natin nakafocus kung ano nga ba talaga yung strategy na pwede natin gawin. But, with the use of PDS, mai-eliminate natin yung mga barriers, which is only focus lang sa ating overall strategies na gagamitin. And of course, meron din tayong tinatawag na business expansions through new or modified products. With the use of new and modified products, simply, pag pumatok yon with the use of PDS, since na-introduce natin siya, magkakaroon nga ng market demand. Pag nagkaroon ng market demand or tumaas yung market demand, tataas yung market shares natin, possible nun, magkakaroon talaga tayo ng business expansions. Pwede natin siyang ibenta sa ibang lugar. Kaya business expansion is one of the importance of the PDS. So, next naman is meron tayong tinatawag na Sustainable New Product Development or SNPD. So, ano nga ba itong SNPD na to? So, simple lang. Ito yung, or dito magkakaroon ng environmental and social contribution or consideration, social and environmental consideration with regards to the product life cycle para masustain natin yung product natin. Hindi lang naman basta gawa lang tayo ng gawa ng product, environmental and social contributed ba siya or not? So, dun papasok yung SNPD na tinatawag natin. So, meron din tayong tinatawag na key steps and stages of a new product development. Number 1 or the most important stages is research and testing. So, dito sa research and testing, napaka-important din talaga nito. Kailangan nating mag-research regarding sa product natin. Ma-identify natin yung flaws, kung ano nga ba yung mga kulang pa sa product natin, or kung ano pa yung mga pwede nating palitan sa product natin. Then, may tinatawag din tayong idea stage, or with the use of SWOT analysis. Ano ba yung SWOT analysis? I-identify natin yung strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So, next is the stages of product development. So, first, meron tayong tinatawag na idea development. Dito sa idea development is parang brainstorming lang talaga siya. Possible kasi dito is maraming idea na mabuo. So, for example, is nag-isip ka ng product or bottled water, or naisip mo na tumbler na nagiging baso. So, magkakaroon ka ng idea na ano nga ba yung materials na gagamitin ko dito? Pwede bang stainless, pwede bang rubber, pwede bang plastic, or any idea with regards to that product. So, next naman is editing and selections. With regards to the idea na nabuo mo, you are going to choose the best idea na naisip mo. Of course, based din naman siya sa market viable ideas mo, kung magiging trend ba siya, kung papatok ba talaga siya sa market na yon. Hindi ka lang basta mamimili kung ano nga ba yung sa tingin mo is maganda. Magbe-base ka rin sa market idea mo. So, next is prototype creation. Since tapos na tayo sa dalawang stage, meron tayong prototype creation. Ito yung bubuuin mo na yung product mo. You're going to make your product. But, it is only a sample product. Kung pwede nga ba talaga siya, kung possible nga ba talaga siya, or kung gumagana nga ba talaga siya. So, next, magkakaroon ka na ngayon ng analysis. You are going to evaluate the market demand or your potential challenges with regards to that product. Kung ano-ano nga ba yung maaaring makaapekto dito sa product mo. Or yung tinatawag din naman nating external factors is yun yung market or market research natin. So, next naman is the product creation. So, dito na. Gagawin na natin yung product natin, which is yung final product naman natin. Since nagkaroon naman na tayo ng analysis, is possible nun mabago yung product natin or madagdagan yung product natin. Maaring mag-eliminate tayo sa key features ng product natin or pwede rin naman tayo magdagdag since bubuo na tayo ng panibagong product or tinatawag nating final product. So next naman is market testing. So we are going to test it in the market or we are going to sell it in the market with a small amount only. Sisiguraduhin natin na hindi tayo malulugi dito sa stage na to. Kasi nga, is konti pa lang yung amount of product na ipoproduce natin. Possible kasi nito is kung magiging maganda ba yung pagtitinda natin sa product na to or magiging profitable ba to in terms of how many days or months, ganun, kung ilan nga ba yung demand nito in particular days or in particular time. So next is the commercialization. So dito na tayo magla-launch ng large scale, which is since na-satisfy na natin yung market testing, magkakaroon na talaga tayo ng commercialization. Full scales na to, ibig sabihin maramihan na ang iproproduce nating product.
Hello everyone, this is Diane Scarlett Lucas and this time I will discuss about the new product branding, positioning, and improvements. New product branding, positioning, and improvements. Brand positioning. Establishing brand identity in consumers' mind, meaning that the company should create a specific image for their brand in the mind of their target audience or yung sa customers. You want your brand to stand out, to be unique, na kapag may nakikita silang bagay is yung brand mo yung una nilang maiisip. Ganon. Gusto mo yung brand mo yung mag-stand out among others. Next, successful positioning. Achieve when a brand is perceived as valuable. Meaning, valuable, iniisip nila na worth it yung price, tsaka nagpro-provide yung brand mo ng something good sa kanila. Parang may benefit silang makukuha doon. Credible, meaning they trust your brand. And differentiated, nakikita nila yung brand mo as different and better sa iba. Yun nga, yung unique yun, magiging successful yung positioning mo kapag na-perceive nila as valuable, credible, and differentiated. Merong dalawang importance ng brand positioning. Una, differentiates the brand from competitors. Think of it as making your brand stand out sa crowded room. Effective positioning highlights what makes your brand unique so hindi isipin ng mga customer na may kapareha ka. The second one, communicates value and justifies pricing. Justifies pricing meaning worth it yung price ng product mo. May reasonable na dahilan kung bakit ganun yung presyo ng brand mo. Maganda yung quality, may maganda siyang benefit sa'yo sa kapag binili mo yung brand nila, ganon. Parang willing sila magbayad ng mataas na presyo kasi alam nilang maganda yung quality ng product mo. Kaya ganon yung pricing. May reason kaya bakit ganon. Next, types of brand positioning. Number 1, customer service positioning, prioritizing customer support. Meaning, this focuses on making customers feel well cared and supported. It's about creating a positive and helpful experience beyond the product itself. For example, na lang sa mga high-end hotel. 'Di ba kapag may mga guests, kapag may mga ng mga rooms, ganon, ina-assist nila, inaalalayan, pinagsisilbihan, ganon, kasi guest nga nila yon, trabaho nila yon. Parang isa yun sa yung prioritizing customer support. May kasabihan nga, when you stay with us, you're not just getting a room, you're getting a premium experience where your comfort and needs are our top priority. Parang yung mga guests nila yung top priority nila. Second one, convenience-based positioning, highlighting ease of use and accessibility. This strategy emphasizes how easy it is for the customer to access, use, and obtain your products or services. Example na lang sa GCash or sa mga Paymaya. Di ba sa GCash and PayMaya, nag-o-offer sila ng easy payments sa pagbabayad ng mga bills at saka sa easy fund transfers. Hindi mo na need na pumunta sa mga office na gano'n para magbayad. And pwede ka na magbayad online. Pwede mo na siyang ma-attain, ma-obtain, magamit online na hindi ka na magsasayang ng effort. Parang ganun. Next is yung price-based positioning, offering the most effective option. This strategy attracts customers who are primarily driven by price. It's about offering the most affordable option sa market. Example sa mga sari-sari store. Nag-o-offer sila ng mga product at slightly lower prices. Next one, quality-based positioning, emphasizing superior quality. This focuses on highlighting the premium materials, craftsmanship, and overall excellence of the product or services. Customers are willing to pay more for perceived higher quality. Example na lang ito sa mga luxury brands. Di ba sa mga luxury brand, mataas yung presyo pero alam mo namang maganda yung quality. Willing magbayad yung mga customers ng ganong kalaking halaga ng pera kasi alam nila maganda yung quality na pinaprovide nung brand na yon. Next, differentiation strategy, focusing on unique product features. This involves showcasing specific features, technologies, or design that make the product stand out from the competition. Example, yung sa Mang Tomas. Di ba, kung maano nyo, kung iano nyo, iba yung lasa ng Mang Tomas sa lasa ng ibang mga soy sauce brand na condiments. Parang nag-stand out siya. Nag-stand out yung Mang Tomas sa ibang mga soy sauce based condiments sa market. Next one, social media positioning, leveraging digital platforms. This strategy uses social media to build a specific brand image and engage with customers. Example na lang sa mga local fashion tsaka sa mga beauty products. Ginagamit nila yung sa Instagram, yung sa TikTok, sa Facebook para ipakilala tsaka mag-trending yung mga brand na gusto nilang sa market. Ginagamit nilang yung social media. Kasi most sa atin, sa generation natin, nasa social media. Social media. Other strategies, positioning as the pioneer. Positioning as the pioneer, meaning ikaw yung parang first sa category. Di ba yung sa San Miguel Beer, siya yung oldest tsaka yung most established na beer sa Pilipinas. So, ikaw yung una. Positioning as most recognized. Example ito yung sa Jollibee. Isa siya sa most recognized fast food chain sa Pilipinas din. And positioning as the best solution. Let's move on sa developing a brand positioning. Meron tayong 12. Number 1, in developing a product positioning strategy. Determine current brand positioning. Define target audience and unique values. First, syempre, you need to understand where your brand stands now. Kung sino yung mga target audience mo, kung ano yung unique value na kaya mong i-offer sa kanila. Parang ito yung magiging starting point mo. Number 2, create a brand essence chart. Define attributes, benefits, personality, and positioning. Attributes meaning ano yung mga factual characteristics ng brand mo. Benefits. Yun nga, benefits. Anong benefits ang makukuha ng mga customer mo kapag tinangkilik nila yung brand mo? Personality. Personality is like yung human-like traits ng brand mo. Tsaka yung positioning, ito yung concise statement kung paano mag-stand out yung brand mo from the competition. Next, number 3, identify competitors. Conduct market research and analyze competitors. Siyempre, dapat alam mo kung sino-sino yung mga magiging competitors mo. Kung ano yung parang who are the other options your target audience might consider. Number 3 is yung conduct competitor research. Study product offering, strengths, and weaknesses. Siyempre, dapat kung di ba naalaman mo na kung sino-sino yung mga competitors mo, dapat kilala mo yung mga competitors mo. Kung ano yung product na ino-offer nila, ano yung strength tsaka weaknesses nila. Parang ito yung magkaka-spot ka dito ng ibang opportunities. Kapag nalaman mo yung mga strength, weaknesses, kung ano yung mga ino-offer nila, ganun. Magkaka-idea ka. And the fifth one, identify unique value proposition, highlight business strengths and differentiation. Based sa strength mo, pinpoint what makes your business truly special and different in a way na mabavalue ng mga target audience mo. Parang ito yung magiging key differentiator mo. Next, number 6, build a brand positioning framework. Establish key messaging across marketing touchpoints. Take your unique value proposition and craft consistent messaging around it. Yung mga message na ito should be across all your marketing offers sa mga website ng social media mo to your in-store communications. Nang sa ganon, yung target audience mo ay consistently receives the intended message ng brand mo. Number 7, create a positioning statement. Summarize what makes the brand unique. Parang ito's concise summarize siya na clearly communicates what your brands offer, kung para kanino, ano yung different nito sa iba. Parang ito yung magiging headline sa identity ng product mo, ng product or brand mo. Number 8, evaluate positioning effectiveness. Test and gather customer feedback. Siyempre kapag nailabas na yon, pag naging na-position na siya, rolled out na siya, you need to see if it is working. Kailangan makita kung talagang nag-work siya. Pwede kang mag-gather ng mga feedbacks sa mga customers mo, sa mga target customers mo, and track how they perceive your brand. Number 8, establish emotional connection. Engage customers beyond transactions. Aim to build a deeper relationship with your customers by understanding what they needs, their values, ganon. Creating emotional connections, encourage loyalty. Number 10, reinforce differentiating qualities, highlighting unique features during sales. Siyempre, every time na makipag-interact ka sa mga potential customers mo, lalong-lalo na kapag sa sales process, actively highlight what makes your brand different and better. Explain mo yung unique benefits these differences provide. Next, 11, create value. Consistently deliver benefits to customers. Dapat ensure mo na yung product or services mo tsaka yung overall customer experience provide the value that your positioning claim. Example, sa mga restaurants, sinabi mo na fresh yung ingredients, sinabi mo sa positioning mo na fresh yung mga ingredients na gagamitin mo. Kaya dapat i-make sure mo na fresh talaga sila. Number 12, ensure brand consistency. Align customer-facing employees with brand values. Your employees are the one na nagkikipag-interact sa mga customers mo, sa mga potential customers mo, sa mga target customers mo. Kaya dapat make sure mo na alam ng mga customers mo yung brand's value tsaka yung positioning. Their actions and communications should consistently reinforce the brand identity you're trying to build. Okay, next. Sample brand positioning map. The power of perception. A brand positioning map is made up of characteristics that are significant to your target audience. It is best to have numerous copies of the map depending on distinct sets of attributes when mapping. By plotting your brand and competitors on the map, you may discover who is more competitive in a given area than the others. The map properties are drawn directly from the values that customers hold dear. Provide a product or services perception is closely related to those ideals. In the end, brands that focus on share values triumph. So yung brand positioning map para siyang chart na tinutulungan ka to see how your brand and your competitors look in the eyes of your customers based sa kung ano yung important sa kanila. For example, gamitin natin yung X tsaka Y axis. Yung Y axis, nire-represent niya yung price. Sa dulo, isang dulo, low price. Tapos pag ganon, high price. Yung Y axis naman, ang ano niya is yung quality ng product mo, yung quality. Siyempre kapag nasa baba, low quality, tapos pataas, high quality na yon. I-plant po yung different brands sa map based on how customers perceive them in terms ng price tsaka quality. Starbucks versus Dunkin'. Starbucks versus Dunkin's positioning strategy. Starbucks green and brown branding contrasts sharply with Dunkin's bright pink and orange colors. It's evident in their strategies as well. Starbucks' strategies is centered on quality. The brand states on its coffee finder page, "Our coffee masters have distilled their years of tasting knowledge down to 3 simple questions to help you find the Starbucks coffee you're sure to love." This type of language conveys Starbucks' emphasis on quality rather than quantity or even availability. Dunkin' Donuts focuses on both field Dunkin' Donuts focuses on both field leadership and brand availability. Therefore, their strategy is both leader and convenience-based. Dunkin' is the world-leading baked goods and coffee chain, serving more than 3 million customers every day. The brand states highlighting how convenient is it to simply stop by for a coffee. Yung parang summary lang nito is yung sa Starbucks, yung position niya is more on sa quality sila. Their language emphasize expertise and helping you find the perfect coffee, suggesting the premium experience. Yung Dunkin' Donut naman is about siya sa convenience and leadership. They highlight their large customer base and imply that they are easy go-to option for a quick coffee and baked goods. Yun nga, yung Starbucks, parang ini-aim niya yung higher quality perception, while yung Dunkin' naman focus siya sa being accessible to many or everyday. Yun lang. Tapos na. Thank you. Bye.
Good day everyone. Now we are going to present about the topic C, product validation. The SDGs are 8, 9, 11, and 12. So under the topic C, product validation, we have topic 3.5, market research and customer experience. So market research and customer experience are crucial for successful product validation. Businesses that prioritize understanding consumer needs and enhancing interactions will improve brand perception, drive sales, and sustain growth. So, pag mag-start tayo ng business, kailangan nating alamin yung strength or weaknesses ng ating business. At yung strength na yun, kailangan natin ma-utilize to fully claim or kailangan natin i-utilize yung full potential ng ating business, and kailangan natin ma-identify yung ating weaknesses para maagapan ito and para mas mapaganda pa natin ang ating services or yung product in order to achieve certain goals or drive more sales. So, market research and customer understanding identifies market trends, demographics, and customer buying habits. Helps business understand their target audience and competition. Determines the viability of a new product or services. Definition and importance of market research. Now, market study versus market research. What is market research? And market study. A market study examines consumer demand, including price, location, competition, and economic influences. Market research. Market research is a broader analyzing factors that impact a product's success in the market. So, sa market research, kumbaga, nag-study pa rin tayo dito about the location, competition, and including the prices and the economic influences ng ating product or service. But here in the market research, we tend to dig deeper about the analyzation of those studies uh, in order to answer our queries or question or the weakness of our product. So benefits of market research enhances customer satisfaction and brand loyalty by understanding consumer needs, assists in product design, advertising, and market positioning, and aids in the development of effective advertising strategies for targeted positions. Supports data-driven decision-making for business growth. So, meron tayong key takeaway. Market research is a critical step in R&D, ensuring a company evaluates product viability before launch, minimizing risk, and maximizing market success. So dito ngayon sinasabi natin kanina na kailangan natin mag-research about our services or products para malaman natin yung strength and weaknesses natin, and for the strength we need to utilize para maabot natin yung full potential na meron ng ating business, and we need to identify what is the weaknesses to minimize the risk of our business and ensuring more income or more sales. Categories of market research. Many businesses employ market research to test new goods or gather information from customers about what product or services they require but do not already have. So, under market research, meron tayong two types. First is primary research, conducted directly through surveys, interviews, and focus groups. So, para masagot natin yung certain question about na gusto nating malaman about our business, we need to conduct research. So, under primary research, meron tayong dalawa, exploratory research and specific research. Exploratory research identifies market trends and challenges. So dito, tinitingnan natin yung trend analysis na kasama dun yung product natin, kung paano ba yung galaw or paano ba yung mga nangyayari sa market. So specific research analyzes specific issues from exploratory findings. And next is secondary research. It utilizes existing data like government statistics and industry reports. So under this secondary research, we need to interpret about the existing data na meron yung ating business para interpret natin to, para makita natin kung ano ba talaga yung mali or ano yung weakness na meron ng ating business. Types of market research method. A company that is thinking about beginning a business, for example, can perform market research to examine the viability of its product or service. If the market research validates consumer interest, the company can move on with confidence with its business plan. If not, the corporation can utilize the market research findings to make changes to the product to better align it with client preferences. So kailangan natin yung market research para malaman kung ano ba yung talagang gusto or wants or yung needs ng mga customer natin para sa kanilang satisfaction. So pag nasatisfy kasi natin yung mga customer natin, ang tend nito is babalik-balikan nila or bibili sila sa ating product na maganda sa ating long-term goal sa ating company. Type of market research methods. Okay. Dito meron tayong 5. First is face-to-face interviews, direct interaction with consumers. Second, focus groups, small groups providing qualitative feedback. And third is phone research, traditional method but declining with mobile technology. Fourth is survey research, cost-effective method for gathering opinions. And last is online market research, digital surveys, and feedback collection. So, meron tayong steps sa paggawa ng market research. Meron tayong apat. First is define research goal. Clearly identify the problem or question the study aims to address. Dito kailangan nating isipin kung ano ba talagang certain question or query na kailangan sagutin ng ating business. Second, identify target audience. Determine who should be included to ensure relevant and cost-effective data collection. Dito kailangan nating i-identify kung yung target audience natin para dun sa ating gagawing market research para din i-minimize yung risk. Kasi kung ibang audience yung naano natin, possible nito hindi relevant yung information na makuha natin sa kanila sa ating goal. So, third, data collection and analysis. Gather information through surveys, interviews, or market trends, then analyze the findings. And the last step is apply the insights. Use research results to make informed business decisions and improve product development or marketing strategies. So, dito meron pa tayong key takeaways. Number 1, before introducing a product, companies conduct market research to determine its appeal to potential customers. Second, market research tools include focus groups, telephone interviews, and questionnaires. Third, the result of market research inform the final design of the product and determine how it will be positioned in the marketplace. And last, market research usually combines with primary information gathered directly from consumers and secondary information, which is data available from external sources. So, that's it for the topic A of the 3.5 market research and customer experience. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My part of the report focuses on topic C, specifically looking at letter B, customer's experience and its importance. So this is a vital part of ensuring a product will succeed. So what do we mean by customer experience? It is the overall feeling or perception a customer gets about our brand based on all the interaction they have with us throughout the entire journey. So this isn't just about the product itself. It includes everything from seeing an ad, visiting a website or store, the buying process, using the product, and even interactions with customer service. So the two main things that shape this experience are the people customers interact and the product they use. So why is customer experience so important? Focusing on customers' experience is absolutely critical for any businesses, specifically new ones. So here's why. Number 1, we have the growth. To sustain growth, a truly remarkable customer's experience is fundamental for the long-term growth of business. And number 2, we have the loyalty and retention. So when customers have a positive experience, they become loyal. This helps us to customers come back and reduce the number of people who stop using your products or services. So number 3, we have the brand advocacy. Happy customers often become your biggest fans. They tell their friends and the family about their positive experience, which is powerful and free advertising. And we also have the competitive advantage. Today, customers have many choices and can easily research options. A great experience can be what sets you apart and make a customers choose and stick with you. Ultimately, a direct impacts for your revenue. So, if it's so important, we need to know how we're doing. We can measure customers' experience. So how can we measure our customers' experience? So number one, we have the customer satisfaction surveys. So this is regularly asking customers for their feedback. So number two, we have the analyzing churn rate, understanding why customers might be leaving. So we also have the looking at product or featuring request. And we also have the monitoring support tickets, which identifies the trends in customer problems or questions that help us to fix the common issues. So, measuring is important, but we also need to actively manage and improve the experience. So, this is called the Customer's Experience Management or CXM. So, what is the CXM or the Customer's Experience Management? So, the definition of CXM is the process of constantly polling or surveying, analyzing, and improving all those interactions customers have with the company. So it involves looking at every touch point and figuring out how to make it experience better. So we have the customer's first approach. The CXM shows a clear commitment to understanding and meeting customers' needs. So we also have the continuous improvement by monitoring and improving these touch points. The business continually adds value for its customer. So it's also help keep track of potential unhappy customers and implement ways to keep them engaged. So we also have strategies for CXM. So to manage experience effectively, businesses can create customers journey maps. So they can also develop detailed buyer personas, and they can also build a strong customer relationship, act quickly on customers' feedback, and provide valuable content and foster a customer's community. So, customer experience is more than just a customer service. It is the total perception a customer has on your brand. Prioritizing and actively managing this business experience is essential for building the loyalty, encouraging advocacy, and driving a sustainable growth. So that is the customer's experience.
Ngayon, i-discuss naman natin ang testing techniques and prototypes. Ang prototyping at testing ay isang mahalagang bahagi sa pagbuo ng isang produkto, ng isang service, and even sa system. This is the process where gumagawa muna tayo ng isang model or sample ng isang produkto bago natin ito gawing pangmasa o i-release sa market. Ang layunin nito is makakuha ng feedback, makita agad kung may mali, and masiguro na tugma ito sa pangangailangan ng ating users. So, ano nga ba ang prototyping? Ang prototyping ay ang paggawa ng simpleng version ng isang produkto para matesting at makita kung effective ba ito. Para itong draft sa isang sulat o sketch naman sa isang drawing. For example, bago gumawa ng actual na cellphone, gumagawa muna ang mga engineers ng 3D printed na prototype para matesting kung maganda ba ang design at komportable sa kamay yung cellphone na gagawin. So, bakit nila ito ginagawa? Nakakatulong kasi ito para ma-detect agad kung may problema man. And nakakatipid ito sa gastos dahil hindi na kailangang ulitin ang production kung may makita agad na mali sa prototype na ginawa nila. And nakakapagbigay din ito ng real feedback from the users bago ito gawing final. Prototyping and testing is also important in various teams such as sa product development. So makikita naman natin dito sa PowerPoint na prototyping and product development, is conducted before full-scale production. Ibig sabihin is ginagawa ito bago gumawa ng libo-libong units sa factory. For example, sa isang company ng sapatos ay gumagawa muna sila ng isang sample pair bago sila mag-produce ng 1,000 pairs para makita nila agad kung may sira at hindi na mauulit ito sa mass production. Dito naman tayo sa purpose of prototyping and testing. So, meron siyang 4 na purpose. Ang una is evaluates concept early in the design process. So, magbibigay na lang po ako ng example dito para maintindihan natin ng maayos. So, for example is, sa paggawa ng isang app, nagpa-present muna sila ng wide frame, para siyang sketch, bago ito i-coding para malaman kung okay ang flow at design. Sa number 2 naman, identifies and fixes usability issues. For example, gumawa ka ng prototype ng water bottle na may kakaibang takip. Kapag nahirapan ang testers na buksan ito, pwede mo na agad baguhin yung design para sa susunod na prototyping is maging effective na and ready na siya for release sa market. So number 3, saves cost by reducing the need for redesign. So for example ulit, sa paggawa ng bagong laruang pambata, mas mura ang mag-edit ng prototype kaysa i-recall ang libo-libong toys kung may mali na pala. Kaya mas maigi talaga na gumawa muna ng prototype bago tayo mag-release ng product sa market. And number 4, prototypes range from simple sketches to highly fidelity interactive models. So, ang prototype is maaari nating gawin sa pamamagitan ng sketch, drawing lang sa papel ng cellphone design. Interactive model sa clickable app prototype sa Figma o Adobe bago ito i-code. Sa paggawa ng prototype is mayroon tayong 3 techniques. Ang unang techniques is yung rapid prototyping. Mababasa natin dito na ang definition na nakalagay is quickly creating a basic version of a system. So ito yung mabilisang paggawa ng basic version. For example, gumamit ng karton para makita kung anong sukat ang maganda bago gumawa ng actual na product. And the second one is the diagram-based prototyping. Dito naman, gumagamit tayo ng diagrams tulad ng flowcharts, system flow, or sequence diagram. Ang isang halimbawa nito is sa paggawa ng online shopping app. Iginuguhit muna kung paano mag-a-add to cart at checkout at magbayad ang customer bago i-develop yung mismong app. And pangatlo is yung best practice, start simple. Dito naman is mag-i-start tayo sa sketch and then gagawin natin itong tree model o software mock-up bago gumawa ng real prototype. Dito naman sa importance and benefits of prototyping. So, meron tayong 3 example dito sa PowerPoint. Ang una is detect design flaws before production. So, bago natin i-release sa market yung product natin is sa pamamagitan ng prototype, madedetect muna natin yung problema doon para pag na-release na natin sa market is maging okay na siya. So for example, bago i-manufacture ang sasakyan, chine-check muna sa prototype kung ligtas ba ito kapag nabangga. Kung wala ba siyang masyadong damage, ganon. Number 2 is helps in budgeting and resource allocation. Ang example naman ito is malalaman kung gaano karaming materials ang kailangan sa prototype kaya mas accurate yung budget natin. Number 3, simplifies machinery and production selection. Kapag nakita sa prototype na kailangan ng mas advanced na machine para mapino ang edges ng ginawang product, pwede na itong i-prepare bago magsimula ng mass production. So, to summarize po yung sinabi ko kanina, ang prototyping and testing ay parang practice o rehearsal bago ang actual na performance ng produkto. Pinipigilan nito ang pagkalugi, nasisiguro na maganda ang user experience and nakakatulong sa pagplano ng production and gastos.
Okay, so let's proceed naman po sa different types of prototypes. But before that, allow me po to introduce myself. My name is Janina Claire Imabuto and I will be the one discussing the rest of this module po. Okay, so there are 4 given types of prototypes po, and we will identify them po by their stimuli, testing ability, and testing time. So, the first one is low fidelity. Para mas maintindihan po natin ng mabilis, alamin po muna natin kung ano po ba yung tinutukoy na fidelity po dito. Fidelity po by its basic definition po, in this sense po, it refers to how much a prototype resembles the actual product, which includes the visual characteristics, content, and ability to interact with it. So, with that being said po, low fidelity po refers to a prototype na may minimum visual details and functionality but sharing the concept with others po. It is simplified po. And based on its testing time po, it represent early stage po ng product or interface na pina-prioritize po yung functionality over visual design. A good example po of this type of prototype is sketches. Also, another is drawings naman po. Okay, the second one naman po is high fidelity prototype po. By its name itself po, it's the kabaliktaran po ng low fidelity. Kung yung low fidelity po involves lang po is minimum visual designs lang po, ito naman pong high fidelity prototype, it involves a detailed and interactive representation of a product na nagko-closely resemble po yung final design. It is often created with design software and provides a realistic preview of the user experience and visual aesthetics. These prototypes are used for usability testing and refining the user experience before the final product is built and after refining po yung low fidelity test po. Ito po is, kung yung low fidelity po kanina is sketches, example po is sketches or drawings po na may minimum visual design lang po siya. Ito naman pong high fidelity prototype po, na po siya, parang nag-involve na po siya ng physical component po na kung ibabase po natin sa definition ay nagre-resemble na po to ng final design. Parang kung susumain po natin is yung low fidelity po is mas previous step po siya para magawa po natin yung high fidelity prototype po, which involves physical component na po. A good example po nito would be wireframes at saka mga simulations po. The third one is live data. Live data po is a type of prototype that uses real data, user inputs, or API calls po to simulate the functionality of a real product or service. This type of prototype po is nagfo-focus po siya sa overall functionality. Paano po? Live data prototypes are often used to validate specific functionalities that involve data like personal experience, real-time updates, or user input validation. Example po nito is APIs and JavaScript. The fourth one, and I think the most we are familiar with po is the feasibility. Feasibility po is makaka-derive po tayo ng word na feasible po. Ito pong feasibility po by the name itself po, masasagot niya po ito kung magiging feasible po ba yung idea, concept, or product na gagawin po natin bago po tayo makakommit ng significant resources po na magsisave po sa atin ng not just time po but also cost na ma-incur po natin dun sa pagpaprocess o pagtetest po natin ng prototype. Feasibility daw po is used to test the technical and functional viability of a product or concept, particularly when new technologies or complex algorithms are involved, allowing for early identification of potential issues and risks before resource commitment. Okay po, natapos na tayo sa different types of prototypes. Ngayon, dumahon naman po tayo sa tanong na, why is there a need for prototype testing? Bakit? Para saan nga po ba talaga ang pagtetest ng prototype? Ngayon po, sa basic definition pa lang po ng prototype provided earlier, makakakuha na po tayo ng insights or makakagain na po tayo ng idea kung bakit kailangan nga po natin mag-test or gumawa muna ng prototype para maka-validate po tayo ng decision or maka-arrive po tayo sa isang conclusion. So, the definition provided earlier po is prototype involves creating a design mock-up or prototype to gather feedback and validate decision po. But to elaborate po, magbibigay po tayo ng ilang reason po kung bakit kailangan po natin ng prototype testing. The first one is, there is a need for prototype testing because it reduces time and cost. Ito pong prototype, pag-test po natin ng prototype is, it reduces time and cost by allowing po yung mga developers or designers po na ma-identify po at ma-fix po yung mga issues early in the product development process bago po mag-umpisa yung full production po. This early identification and resolution po is makakasave po ng time and money compared po sa pag-correct po natin ng errors after po natin magawa na yung product or after po ma-launch na yung product. The second one is, it increases user involvement po. Ito pong prototype testing daw po is, it provides early product exposure po sa users. Prototype testing increases user involvement by providing a tangible or interactive model that allows users to directly experience po at makapag-provide po ng feedback sa design concept po nung prototype po na tinest po ng mga users. Ito po ay ina-allow po yung mga designers para ma-identify po yung mga problems at saka yung mga usability issues po at mas maintindihan po ng mga members po yung user's expectation po at saka maka-gather ng mga valuable insights early in the development process, ultimately leading to a product that better meets users' need. The third one is, there is a need for prototype testing because it gathers accurate requirements po. It ensures better alignment po with user needs as said earlier po. Prototype testing po is crucial for ensuring accurate requirements in product development because it allows for early identification of issues, gathers valuable feedback from potential users, and help refine the design bago po tayo magkaroon ng significant development cost or bago po tayo maka-incur na mga gastos ay ma-ensure po natin yung mga accurate requirements po by prototype testing. The fourth one and the last one is prototype testing po can resolve team conflicts. Alam naman po natin na of course, lalo na po kung hindi lang po isa ang member po na gumagawa or yung proprietor po is magkakaroon po talaga tayo ng different arguments or different interpretations po, lalo na po sa feedback na magigain natin sa users po. Ngayon, paano po nare-resolve ng prototype testing ang mga team conflicts po? By testing prototypes po, teams can see which features generate the best user response and objective data, ultimately leading to a more informed decisions po and reducing disagreements po between the parties. Okay, so nagkaroon na po tayo ng idea kung bakit importante o bakit kailangan po natin mag-prototype testing. Dumako naman po tayo ngayon sa 6 step ng prototype testing process. The first one is understanding goals and features po by defining objectives and key information needed. The first one is, I think, one of the most important po sa prototype testing process because kapag alam po natin yung goals and objectives po natin, kapag successfully po nating na-identify yung mga goals and objectives po na kakailanganin po natin or involved po dito sa prototype testing na po na to, magiging focus po tayo, magiging guide po natin yun para maging focus po tayo at magkaroon po tayo ng efficient na process. The second one is to identify target audience. Identifying target audience po doesn't just mean selecting test users that represent actual consumers. Of course, it is important to select users po na nagre-represent po ng actual consumers para magkaroon din po tayo ng actual result na mas magiging useful po sa process na gagawin po natin. But also, identifying target audience involves po yung pag-identify po natin ng target audience po, kung kanino po natin gagamitin, kung sino po ang target po natin dito sa gagawin nating prototype para mas magkaroon po tayo ng guide or ng idea kung paano po natin gagawin yung certain prototype na yon or paano po natin hihuhulma para ma-meet po yung mga needs ng mga users na tinatarget po natin. The third one is to create a realistic prototype by developing an appropriate prototype for testing po. The fourth one naman po is to choose a testing method po. It is said po na we should decide po between in-person or remote, moderated or unmoderated test po. With that being said po, yung fourth step po na pag-choose po natin ng testing method, of course, hindi lang po doon magtatapos. Kailangan din po natin gumamit ng mga right tools po na maglilid po sa atin sa fifth step po. Specifically is to use the right tools po or leverage platforms that is streamline prototype testing. And after po nung 5 step na po na yun is, of course, magde-derive na po tayo sa isang conclusion. Kaya kailangan po natin siyang i-analyze or analyze the results by evaluating data and refine the prototype accordingly. Okay. Yung 6th step, prototype testing na po na yon is maglilid po sa atin sa post-testing process or yung after test na process na gagawin natin. It involves dalawa po. First is the refinement and tweaking, and the second one is the implementation and monitoring. Refinement and tweaking po involves iterative improvements po ng prototype based on user feedback and testing. Ito pong process na to na pag-refine at pag-tweaking doesn't just end pagkatapos na po natin nagawa yung product or pagkatapos na po nating na-launch yung product. This process po is dynamic or continuous po siya until the type of prototype is ma-optimize at ma-meet po natin yung user's need. A good example po nito would be in manufacturing po. A manufacturing company might test a prototype of a new assembly line po process and i-refine niya po ito based on user feedback, addressing any bottlenecks po or inefficiencies before implementing the full system po. Okay, the second one given naman po is the implementation and monitoring. In post-testing phase of prototype development po, implementation refers po sa or involves po incorporating feedback and refining the prototype based on user testing results po. And monitoring naman po is nag-ensure po siya na yung prototype po is nagfa-function po siya correctly at saka nag-align po siya sa user's expectation after changes are implemented, often through pilot testing or real user feedback po. Okay, so nalaman na po natin yung mga steps po sa process ng prototype testing. Dumako naman po tayo sa kung paano po natin siya ma-implement. Ngayon, magbibigay po tayo ng best practices for prototype testing. The first one is to prioritize usability. After po nating masundan yung mga steps na binigay, yung 6 steps, tsaka yung post-testing process is ma-ensure po natin yung usability or yung prototype natin is easy to use at ma-meet po yung users needs po ng mga users na tina-target po natin. The second one is to avoid perfection. Of course po, avoiding perfection is not a negative side po. Hindi naman po porket na sinabing avoiding perfection, hindi na po natin kailangan na magkaroon ng o i-aim po natin yung almost perfect po na prototype. Ang ibig sabihin po nito is avoiding perfection po involves focusing on gathering insights rather than creating a flawless model. Dapat po alam pa rin po natin yung focus natin. Yung focus po natin na ang dapat nating focus is to identify problems and make improvements quickly rather than striving for a flawless final product right from the start po. Sorry po. The third one is to maintain open communication po to encourage user feedback. Maintaining open communication po foster clear, transparent, and ongoing dialogue between developers, designers, users, and stakeholders. Ito po ay nakakapag-ensure po na everyone po is informed at saka yung feedback po is effectively gathered po and acted upon. At saka itong maintaining open communication po, pwede po natin malaman kung yung project po ba is nag-stay on track po siya at hindi po siya nawawala sa kung ano po yung gusto nating ma-aim na objectives at saka goals. The fourth one is to develop buyer personas po. Itong developing buyer personas po involves considering the target audience, preferences, and behavior po. By creating realistic or semi-fictional profiles po ng mga target customers para mag-guide po yung development and testing of product or service na tinetest po natin. Ito pong mga personas na po na ito is nakaka-help po sa atin para mas maintindihan po natin yung target audience po natin, yung mga needs po nila, kung ano po yung goals ng process na po na ito, or mga pinpoints and behaviors po nila para na nag-aalaw po sa atin na mas ma-tailor po natin effectively po yung prototype natin at saka makagather po tayo ng more relevant feedback po na magagamit po natin. The fifth practice po is to respect participant privacy po. It is ethically and legally important po to protect the information or the confidentiality of information ng mga consumers or users na gagamit po or yung pinakiusapan po natin para matest po natin yung prototype po natin. This means po, itong practice na po na ito, this means na kailangan po natin mag-obtain ng consent before collecting personal data po. The pang-anim po na isa sa mga best practices po na pwede natin gawin is to clarify testing objectives po na dapat ma-ensure po natin na yung participants po know they are evaluating the product, not being tested themselves po. Ito pong clarifying testing objectives po is it ensures that the testing process is focused, efficient, and yields valuable, actionable results po. Yung pang-pito po is to encourage honest feedback. By encouraging honest feedback po, it can inform participants na we didn't create the prototype po to avoid biased opinions po. Nonetheless, it provides valuable insights po into user experience, and it is very important po before significant resources are invested into final products. The last one po na one of the best practice na pwede po nating magawa for prototype testing po is to test in diverse environment by conducting tests across various settings for more comprehensive result po. This involves po identifying potential problems and ensure that the product works well po for a wide range of users po for a more probability of success po nung prototype or yung product na gusto po nating i-launch po. So, I think that's the end of discussion po. Thank you so much po for listening.